My deceitful husband brought his secret mistress to my luxury rooftop infinity pool, completely unaware that I am the underground billionaire who built the very cryptocurrency platform he was trying to use. For 2 years, I played the role of a quiet, boring wife who constantly traveled for business. Julian thought I was safely on a flight to London, leaving him alone in our 50 million pound penthouse. He invited his new obsession, a fitness model named Mia, to enjoy my private rooftop pool. My hidden security systems alerted me the second they bypassed the lobby. I watched from my secure server room as Julian and Mia intimately kissed in the glowing cyan water. Worse, Julian had brought his encrypted laptop to the edge of the pool. He was bragging to Mia, showing her how he was about to transfer my entire hidden crypto fortune into a secret offshore account to fund their new life together. They thought I was 30,000 feet in the air, completely oblivious to their betrayal. What those two arrogant narcissists didn't realize was that I had already canceled my flight. Before Julian even pressed the transfer button, I remotely accessed the mainframe and permanently locked his digital wallet, draining his balance to absolute zero. This evening, as the golden sunset bathed the penthouse in warm light, I didn't walk onto the pool deck crying. I pushed open the heavy glass doors, letting my beige trench coat drop to the floor, revealing a flawless, flowing white silk designer gown that left absolutely nothing to the imagination. And I wasn't alone. I was flanked by a massive team of elite federal financial investigators who had quietly secured the perimeter. The upbeat tropical music abruptly stopped as the cheating couple gasped in absolute shock. Julian stumbled out of the water, his arrogant, confident smile vanishing instantly as he stared directly into my perfectly focused, dominant eyes. "But you're supposed to be in London," Mia stuttered, shivering in her neon bikini as she realized the federal raid was entirely real. "I decided to enjoy the sunset instead," I whispered seductively. I handed the lead investigator the glowing digital tablet, fully exposing Julian's massive financial theft and cyber fraud. Julian's toxic smirk vanished instantly as the federal agents calmly detained him right on the wet pool deck. Mia fell to her knees on the polished stone, sobbing hysterically and begging the agents for mercy whilst trying to cover herself. I walked right up to the edge of the water, looking down at the pathetic traitors who tried to steal my empire, radiating absolute untouchable control. "Your accounts are officially liquidated," I announced, turning my back as they were escorted out the glass doors, shivering and humiliated. "Today, they are facing decades behind bars, whilst I enjoy my infinity pool in perfect peace." If you love seeing toxic traitors get their stolen dreams completely shattered, hit that subscribe button right now. And let me know in the comments below, would you have pushed the laptop into the water?
You have no idea who you're actually robbing, Julian.
My deceitful husband moved his beautiful, long-lost sister into my luxury penthouse, completely unaware that I am the billionaire CEO of the world's leading cybersecurity firm. For 3 months, I played the role of a weak, increasingly ill wife, letting Julian believe his sinister plan was actually working. He claimed Elena was his orphaned sister who needed a place to stay, but my hidden thermal security cameras immediately exposed their highly inappropriate secret romance. I watched silently as Julian started slipping unauthorized sedatives into my evening tea, trying to slowly break my mind so he could declare me legally incompetent and seize my entire fortune. They thought I was just a naive, trusting woman slowly losing her grip on reality. What those two pathetic traitors didn't realize was that I had already swapped his dangerous pills with basic daily vitamins weeks ago. Every single whisper, every forged document, and every secret kiss was meticulously recorded and securely transmitted to a federal investigative task force. Tonight, Julian and Elena were hosting a lavish private dinner party for his corrupt lawyer to officially sign away my corporate empire. I didn't stay locked in my bedroom pretending to be asleep. I pushed open the heavy mahogany dining room doors wearing a flawless, pristine white designer suit, completely shedding my weak disguise. And I wasn't alone. I was flanked by a massive team of elite federal financial investigators. The elegant dinner music abruptly stopped as the corrupt lawyers gasped in absolute shock at my perfect clarity and power. Julian stumbled backward, his arrogant smile vanishing instantly as he stared directly into my perfectly focused, dominant eyes. "But you're supposed to be heavily sedated," Elena stuttered, her fake, innocent persona completely shattering as she realized the raid was real. "I never swallowed your poison," I whispered softly. I handed the lead investigator the glowing digital tablet, fully exposing Julian's massive medical fraud, their sickening affair, and the forged corporate documents. Julian's toxic smirk vanished instantly as the federal agents calmly detained him in front of his ruined legal team. Elena fell to her knees in her expensive black silk dress, sobbing hysterically and begging the agents to let her go. I walked right up to the head of the table, looking down at the pathetic narcissists who tried to erase my existence, radiating absolute, untouchable control. "Your access to my life is permanently denied," I announced, turning my back as they were escorted out the door to face severe federal justice. Today, they are facing decades behind bars while I rule my tech empire in perfect peace. If you love seeing toxic traitors fall directly into their own traps, hit that subscribe button right now. And let me know in the comments below, would you have swapped the pills or let them drink it themselves? I thought I was marrying the most perfect, innocent billionaire in the world, completely unaware that he was hiding a terrifying family secret. For 2 years, Arthur treated me like an absolute queen. He was sweet, gentle, and gave me a life of pure luxury. Today was our magnificent wedding day, hosted at his massive coastal estate. I was standing in my bridal suite, wearing my dream dress, waiting for the ceremony to begin. The door opened, and I turned around with a massive smile, expecting to see Arthur. But the man standing in the doorway made my blood run completely cold. He looked exactly like my groom, but he was wearing a pitch-black suit, and he was staring at me with a dark, toxic smirk that I recognized instantly. It was Damien. He was Arthur's long-lost, identical twin brother. But more terrifyingly, he was my secret, highly toxic ex-boyfriend from 5 years ago. Damien had run a massive underground syndicate before disappearing, and Arthur never knew we had a past. Damien slowly locked the door behind him, trapping me inside the dressing room. He walked right up to me, pinning me against the vanity mirror, whispering that he was never going to let his naive brother marry what belonged to him. My face turned bright red, and I started sweating in sheer panic as he promised to ruin the entire wedding if I didn't leave with him immediately. I violently pushed him away and ran down the grand staircase, bursting through the doors to the wedding altar. I desperately tried to warn Arthur, who was standing there smiling warmly in his white tuxedo. But before I could speak, the heavy church doors slammed open. Damien strolled casually down the aisle, completely shocking the hundreds of elite guests who had no idea Arthur had a twin. Arthur's face turned pale white as Damien aggressively took the microphone, laughing cruelly, and began projecting our old, secret romantic photos onto the massive wedding screens. The crowd gasped in pure horror. Arthur stumbled backward, completely broken by the double betrayal. I didn't stay to watch the chaos unfold. I ripped the heavy veil off my head, turned my back on both of them, and walked straight out of the church into the bright sunlight. Today, the twin brothers are destroying each other's empires in court, whilst I am enjoying my freedom on a private island. If you love seeing massive wedding secrets exposed, hit that subscribe button right now, and let me know in the comments below, which brother would you have chosen? My deceitful husband faked my disappearance to steal my family's priceless diamond collection, completely unaware that I am the billionaire owner of the international auction house he was trying to use. For 3 months, I played the role of a naive, trusting wife, letting Julian believe his sinister plan to drain my inheritance was actually working. He claimed Elena was a world-renowned jewelry appraiser who needed to inspect my ancestral diamonds. But my hidden thermal security cameras immediately exposed their highly inappropriate secret romance in my own vault. I watched silently as Julian started staging financial documents, trying to slowly erase my legal existence so he could seize my entire fortune and sell the diamonds to the highest bidder. They thought I was just a fragile woman who had quietly fled the country in tears. What those two pathetic traitors didn't realize was that I had already swapped the genuine diamonds with perfect replica stones weeks ago. Every single whisper, every forged document, and every secret kiss was meticulously recorded and securely transmitted to an Interpol investigative task force. This afternoon, Julian and Elena were hosting a lavish private auction for corrupt international buyers to officially sell off my family's legacy. I didn't stay hidden in the shadows pretending to be a victim. I pushed open the heavy oak doors of the auction room wearing a flawless, pristine white designer gown, completely shedding my weak disguise. And I wasn't alone. I was flanked by a massive team of elite federal financial investigators. The elegant classical music abruptly stopped as the corrupt buyers gasped in absolute shock at my perfect clarity and commanding presence. Julian stumbled backward, his arrogant smile vanishing instantly as he stared directly into my perfectly focused, dominant eyes. "But you're supposed to be gone," Elena stuttered, her fake professional persona completely shattering as she realized the federal raid was entirely real. "I'm just here to place the winning bid," I whispered, softly. I handed the lead investigator the glowing digital tablet, fully exposing Julian's massive fraud, their sickening affair, and the forged auction documents. Julian's toxic smirk vanished instantly as the federal agents calmly detained him in front of his ruined buyers. Elena fell to her knees in her expensive silk dress, sobbing hysterically and begging the agents to let her go. I walked right up to the auction block, looking down at the pathetic narcissists who tried to erase my existence, radiating absolute untouchable control.
Finally,
"Your auction is officially canceled," I announced, turning my back as they were escorted out the sunlit doors to face severe international justice. Today, they are facing decades behind bars while I wear my family's diamonds in perfect peace. If you love seeing toxic traitors fall directly into their own traps, hit that subscribe button right now. And let me know in the comments below, would you have let them start the bidding first?
My arrogant husband kicked me out of our restaurant and stole my secret family recipes for his new mistress, completely unaware that I am the anonymous head inspector for the Global Culinary Review Board. For 5 exhausting years, I worked in the shadows of that boiling kitchen, perfecting the very dishes that made Julian a famous head chef. He took all the public glory whilst I wore a stained apron in the background. Last month, he finally showed his true colors. I walked into the private pantry and caught him passionately kissing his new sous chef, Chloe. Instead of apologizing, Julian coldly handed me an eviction notice. Chloe laughed cruelly, snatching my handwritten recipe journal right out of my hands, and told me to pack my bags because she was the new face of the restaurant. They thought I was just a naive, talentless woman who would quietly fade away into poverty. What those two pathetic traitors didn't realize was that I had already submitted my resignation as his secret prep cook and assumed my rightful, highly classified position on the Federal Culinary Board. Tonight was the most important night of Julian's miserable life, the highly publicized grand opening of his new luxury restaurant, expecting to be awarded his first prestigious star. I didn't stay home crying over my stolen recipes. I pushed open the heavy glass doors of the dining room, wearing a flawless, pristine, crimson-red designer suit, completely shedding my weak disguise. And I wasn't alone. I was flanked by a massive team of elite health inspectors and federal culinary auditors. The elegant classical music abruptly stopped as the wealthy diners gasped in absolute shock at my commanding presence. Julian stumbled backward, dropping his expensive silver-tasting spoon as his arrogant smile vanished instantly. "But you're a nobody," Chloe stuttered, her fake professional persona completely shattering as she realized the audit was entirely real. "I'm the head inspector, and this food is an absolute disgrace," I whispered softly. I handed the lead auditor the glowing digital tablet, fully exposing Julian's massive health code violations, intellectual property theft, and fraudulent financial records. Julian's toxic smirk vanished instantly as the security agents calmly detained him in front of his ruined elite guests. Chloe fell to her knees in her expensive dress, sobbing hysterically and begging the agents to let her keep her job. I walked right up to the pass, looking down at the pathetic narcissists who tried to erase my existence, radiating absolute, untouchable control. "Your kitchen is officially closed," I announced, turning my back as they were escorted out the door to face severe justice. "Today, they are banned from the culinary industry forever, whilst I enjoy my gourmet meals in perfect peace." If you love seeing arrogant traitors get their stolen careers completely destroyed, hit that subscribe button right now.
My deceitful husband tried to drug my champagne to steal my private jet, completely unaware that I am a fully licensed commercial pilot and the sole owner of the aircraft. For months, I played the role of the oblivious, trusting wife, letting Julian believe his sinister plan to drain my offshore accounts was actually working. He claimed we were taking a romantic holiday to the Maldives, but my hidden security team had already intercepted his encrypted messages to his secret mistress, Chloe. I watched silently as Julian slipped a heavy sedative into my pre-flight drink, smiling warmly at me whilst checking his expensive watch. I pretended to take a sip, letting the champagne spill into a napkin, and flawlessly faked falling into a deep, unconscious sleep in the passenger seat. As soon as my eyes closed, Julian unlocked the cabin doors and sneaked Chloe on board, laughing cruelly about how they were going to drop my unconscious body off in a foreign country and disappear with my billions. They thought I was just a fragile, helpless woman, completely at their mercy at 40,000 feet. What those two pathetic traitors didn't realize was that I had already dismissed the original flight crew. The moment they went to the rear bedroom suite to celebrate their stolen wealth, I quietly stood up, completely shedding my weak disguise. I walked straight into the cockpit, locked the heavy reinforced steel door behind me, and took full manual control of the airplane. I violently banked the jet, instantly turning the luxurious, bright cabin into a terrifying, turbulent nightmare. The romantic music abruptly cut out, replaced by my voice echoing coldly through the intercom, announcing that their offshore accounts were permanently frozen. Julian stumbled out of the bedroom, his arrogant smile vanishing instantly as he stared through the small, reinforced glass window of the cockpit door, staring directly into my perfectly focused, dominant eyes. "Open this door immediately!" he shouted, his face turning pale white with sheer terror as he realized we were rapidly descending. "Enjoy your final destination," I whispered softly into the microphone. Julian dropped to his knees, sobbing hysterically and banging his fists against the bulletproof glass, begging for mercy as the ground rushed up to meet us. I didn't land in the Maldives. I smoothly touched down the multi-million-pound jet on the private, highly secure tarmac of a federal maximum security prison. Heavily armed police officers immediately swarmed the aircraft. I stepped out onto the metal stairs wearing a flawless white aviator suit, radiating absolute, untouchable control. Today, they are facing decades behind bars, whilst I fly my jet in perfect peace. If you love seeing toxic traders fly directly into their own traps, hit that subscribe button right now. And let me know in the comments below. Would you have deployed the oxygen masks? My arrogant billionaire husband threw me out onto the street, calling me nothing but a dumb, useless trophy wife. For 3 agonizing years, I played the role of the perfect, silent, beautiful blonde doll for Julian's public image. He forced me to sign a brutal prenuptial agreement guaranteeing I would get absolutely nothing if we ever divorced. But what Julian didn't know was that I am not just a pretty face looking for a quick payday. I am Anya, the sole ruthless heiress to the largest underground European financial syndicate in the world. Yesterday, he cruelly brought his arrogant new secretary into our luxury penthouse and handed me divorce papers. "Pack your cheap bags and get out, you pathetic gold digger," he laughed, kissing his mistress right in front of me. I cried fake tears, begged on my knees, and let his security guards violently throw me out into the freezing rain. I let him believe he had won because the real trap had just been perfectly set. Julian's massive tech empire was entirely funded by a mysterious offshore shell corporation. He had absolutely no idea that I personally owned and controlled every single penny of that investment fund. Tonight, Julian was hosting a lavish $1 million engagement party to celebrate his new fiancée. I did not return wearing a cheap pink dress and crying mascara tears. I kicked down the massive ballroom doors wearing custom dark leather, flanked by 50 heavily armed elite private mercenaries. The loud party music violently stopped as the entire crowd of elites gasped in absolute, paralyzing terror. Julian physically stumbled backward, dropping his champagne glass when he recognized the lethal woman leading the army. You're supposed to be homeless," he stuttered, his face turning pale white with sheer panic. "And you are supposed to be smart, Julian," I whispered coldly, tossing the glowing red foreclosure documents onto his shoes. I legally liquidated his entire company this morning, seizing his penthouse, his bank accounts, and his pathetic life. His new fiancée screamed hysterically as my heavily armed guards pinned Julian violently to the marble floor. He dropped heavily to his knees, sobbing like a child, desperately trying to kiss my high heels for mercy. "You called me a dumb blonde, but I just bought your entire existence," I announced to the dead silent room. I elegantly stepped over his crying body, leaving him completely bankrupt and utterly destroyed. Today, Julian is scrubbing toilets in a federal prison, while I sit flawlessly on a $50 billion throne.
I am wearing a $3 million engagement ring from a billionaire, but my new stepson is my secret one-night stand. Hi, I'm Chloe, and my perfect, luxurious life just turned into a twisted, high-stakes game of seduction. I've always been fiercely independent, working my way up as a top-tier luxury real estate agent in the city. My days were spent in glass offices, closing multi-million-dollar deals and looking absolutely flawless while doing it. I thought I had everything under control until the day I was hired to sell a massive luxury penthouse. That's how I met Julian, a devastatingly handsome silver fox billionaire who immediately caught my attention. Julian wasn't just wealthy. He was charming, powerful, and he practically worshipped the ground I walked on. He started pursuing me relentlessly, sending hundreds of red roses to my office every single morning. Soon we were flying on his private jets, dining in Paris and sleeping in 5-star suites. Julian spoiled me with designer wardrobes and treated me like an absolute, untouchable queen. I had finally secured the ultimate fairy tale that every single girl dreams of having. On our 6-month anniversary, Julian took me to a private yacht under the starry night sky. He got down on one knee and presented a massive, custom-made diamond engagement ring. I said yes, completely blinded by the luxury, the absolute safety, and his warm smile. But to understand how this fairy tale became a total nightmare, we need to rewind a bit. Exactly 6 months before I met Julian, my friends dragged me on a wild girls trip to Miami. I had just gone through a terrible breakup and desperately needed a night of reckless fun. We ended up in an exclusive neon-lit underground club, surrounded by thumping music and heavy drinking. That's when I saw him across the VIP room, a mysterious, dangerously hot blonde guy staring right at me. We never exchanged names, but the physical chemistry between us was instantly and undeniably explosive. He pulled me onto the dance floor, and before I knew it, we were in his hotel room. It was the most unforgettable, intensely passionate one-night stand of my entire life. When I woke up the next morning, he was still asleep, looking like a literal dark angel. I quietly slipped out of the room, leaving absolutely no number and no trace behind. I convinced myself it was just a crazy vacation memory that I would eventually forget. But I could never truly get his intense dark eyes or his heated touch out of my mind. Fast forward to the present day. I was officially moving into Julian's sprawling mega mansion. The estate was breathtaking, complete with flawless marble floors, crystal chandeliers, and an army of staff. Julian wanted to celebrate my arrival by throwing a lavish high society welcome party. He also mentioned casually that his only son was flying back from Europe just to meet me. I wanted to make the absolute perfect first impression as the future stepmother of the estate. I spent hours getting ready, putting on my most breathtaking, tight, backless red evening gown. The mansion was filled with wealthy guests, sipping expensive champagne and listening to a live orchestra. I took a deep, shaky breath and began walking down the grand marble staircase to join Julian. Julian was standing at the bottom, beaming with pride, chatting with a tall young man. "Chloe, darling, come meet my son," Julian called out, his voice echoing in the grand hall. The young man slowly turned around, holding a crystal tumbler of whiskey in his hand. My heart completely stopped. The champagne glass slipped from my fingers and shattered on the floor. Standing there, wearing a wicked, knowing smirk, was the mysterious stranger from Miami. My unforgettable one-night stand was Julian's son, Liam. The hottest, most dangerous mistake of my life. I was completely paralyzed with sheer panic, but Liam didn't miss a single beat. He smoothly walked over, stepping over the broken glass, and extended his hand to me politely. "It's a pleasure to finally meet you, Chloe," Liam said, his voice dripping with hidden sarcasm. Julian completely missed the heavy, suffocating sexual tension crackling between us in the room. He proudly pulled Liam into a fatherly hug, laughing about how great the family looked together. As Julian turned his back to greet another guest, Liam immediately leaned into my personal space. "Looking forward to having you in the family, stepmom," he whispered right against my ear. A massive shiver ran straight down my spine. I was trapped in a beautiful billionaire's cage. The rest of the dinner party was absolute torture. I could barely swallow my expensive food. Liam sat directly across from me at the long dining table, never breaking his intense eye contact. Every time Julian praised me, Liam would take a slow sip of dark wine and smirk darkly. The next morning, Julian kissed my forehead and left for a week-long corporate business trip. I was left entirely alone in the massive, echoing mansion. Or at least, so I thought. I walked down to the vast, modern kitchen in my silk robe to get some morning coffee. Liam was already there, leaning against the marble counter, shirtless and dangerously fit. "Sleep well, stepmom?" he asked, his dark eyes slowly trailing up and down my body. I tried to act cold and professional, reminding him that I was marrying his wealthy father. He just laughed, stepping closer until I was backed up against the cold refrigerator door. "My dad doesn't know you like I do, Chloe," he murmured, his breath hot on my neck. I pushed him away and ran back to my room, my heart pounding completely out of my chest. But Liam was completely relentless. He constantly found excuses to corner me when the maids weren't looking. One afternoon, I was sunbathing by the estate's massive infinity pool, trying my best to relax. Liam suddenly dove into the water, surfacing right at the edge of my white lounge chair. Drops of water fell from his blonde hair as he stared at me with pure, undeniable hunger. If Julian finds out the truth, I'll lose my billionaire lifestyle and my flawless reputation forever. But resisting Liam was becoming impossible. The forbidden nature of it only fueled the burning fire. Things reached a dangerous breaking point a few nights later in Julian's grand, dark library. I was reading a book when Liam walked in and explicitly locked the heavy oak doors behind him. The room was completely dark, lit only by the fireplace. He walked toward me with clear intention. "Tell me you don't want this," Liam challenged, gently grabbing my waist and pulling me close. I opened my mouth to protest, but the words completely died in my throat as he looked at me. Our faces were inches apart. The tension was so thick it was driving me absolutely insane. Suddenly, we heard the heavy sound of car tires crunching loudly on the gravel driveway outside. Julian was home 2 days early. We instantly sprang apart, fixing our messy clothes in a sheer panic. Julian walked into the library seconds later, looking tired but genuinely happy to see us both. "I missed you, darling," Julian smiled, kissing my cheek while Liam watched angrily from the shadows. Now, Julian is aggressively pushing to move our wedding date up to next month. I am literally suffocating under the crushing weight of this massive, scandalous secret in this house. Liam told me yesterday that if I walk down the aisle, he will ruin the wedding entirely. I have to choose a safe, billionaire future or a dangerous, passionate mistake. Subscribe for part 2.
My arrogant husband faked his own death in a fiery car crash to run away with his mistress, completely unaware that I am the billionaire CEO of the very insurance company he was trying to defraud. For 3 years, I played the role of a quiet, supportive wife, while Julian secretly transferred our joint assets into hidden offshore accounts. Last month, authorities told me he perished in a tragic accident, leaving me with mountains of forged corporate debt. I played the role of the devastated grieving widow perfectly, standing silently in a black veil at his empty funeral. But what Julian didn't know was that my private security network had already tracked his burner phone to a hyper-luxurious, exclusive tropical resort in the Maldives. He was there right now, intimately celebrating his massive $100 million life insurance payout with his secret mistress, Valeria. They thought they had permanently erased me and secured a lifetime of stolen luxury. I didn't stay home crying in my mourning clothes. I arrived at his secret private island wearing a flawless white tropical designer suit, flanked by a massive team of elite federal financial investigators on tactical speedboats. The upbeat beach party music abruptly stopped as the wealthy resort guests gasped in absolute shock. Julian stumbled backward in the pristine white sand, his arrogant smile vanishing instantly as he stared directly into my perfectly focused, dominant eyes. "But you think I'm dead," he stuttered. His face turned pale white with sheer terror as he realized his massive fraud was entirely exposed. "I'm officially canceling your policy," I whispered softly. I handed the lead investigator the glowing digital tablet, fully exposing his forged death certificate and their sickening financial crimes. The federal agents calmly detained Julian right on the beach, securing heavy steel handcuffs onto his wrists. Valeria fell to her knees in the sand, sobbing hysterically and begging me not to freeze her stolen bank accounts. I looked down at the pathetic narcissists who tried to ruin my life, radiating absolute, untouchable control. "Your permanent vacation is over," I announced, turning my back as they were escorted onto the federal boats to face severe justice. Today, they are sitting in a federal penitentiary, while I enjoy the ocean breeze from my newly acquired private island. If you love seeing toxic traitors get their tropical dreams completely destroyed, hit that subscribe button right now. And let me know in the comments below, how satisfying was his resurrection?
I stole a $500 million empire from my ruthless billionaire boss, but the reason why will completely shock you. My name is Natalia. I'm a 20-year-old Slavic blonde, and I know exactly how dangerous my beauty can be. My target was Marcus, a cruel 55-year-old CEO who famously destroyed rival companies and ruined innocent families for fun. I applied to be his personal executive secretary, perfectly playing the role of a sweet, naive, and completely harmless girl. On my very first day, I wore a dangerously tight black pencil skirt and a deeply unbuttoned white silk blouse. The moment I walked into his sun-drenched corner office, Marcus was entirely paralyzed by pure, toxic lust. "You're hired, Natalia," he smirked greedily, completely unaware he had just invited his absolute worst nightmare into his life. Over the next few months, I masterfully played a highly addictive game of psychological and physical seduction. I would lean in incredibly close to whisper his daily schedule, letting my expensive perfume drive him completely insane. The heavy, suffocating sexual tension finally snapped one evening when we were completely alone in the dark office. Marcus aggressively pinned me against the massive glass window and kissed me hungrily, sealing his own inevitable fate. From that night on, we engaged in a deeply passionate, highly secret affair right under everyone's noses. But the real danger wasn't Marcus. It was the massive secret I was hiding in the shadows. One rainy evening, a dangerously hot, muscular, young blonde man sneaked past corporate security and entered my private office. It was Leo. He grabbed my waist, kissing me deeply just feet away from Marcus's closed mahogany door. Suddenly, the main elevator dinged loudly. Marcus's furious, wealthy wife, Evelyn, was storming down the hallway. My heart completely stopped. If Evelyn caught me with Leo, our entire master plan would be instantly destroyed. I aggressively shoved Leo into the narrow executive supply closet just seconds before Evelyn violently burst into the room. "Where is my cheating husband?" Evelyn screamed hysterically, slamming her expensive designer bag onto my sleek desk. Marcus rushed out of his office, his face turning pale as Evelyn started throwing documents and screaming about a brutal divorce. I stood perfectly still, playing the terrified secretary, while silently praying Leo wouldn't make a single sound. Evelyn was demanding half of the company, swearing to freeze all of Marcus's multi-billion-dollar assets immediately. Through the tiny crack in the closet door, I saw Leo's dark eyes, watching the chaos with a wicked, satisfied smirk. After security finally dragged the screaming wife away, Marcus collapsed into his leather chair, rubbing his face in absolute panic. This was the exact productive discomfort we had anticipated, the absolute perfect moment to spring our ultimate trap. I slowly walked over to Marcus, gently sliding my hands down his tense shoulders, using my physical touch to manipulate him. "She's going to take everything, Marcus. You need to hide the liquid cash immediately," I whispered softly against his ear. "Where? The IRS is watching my every single move," he panicked, completely stripped of his usual arrogant power. "A blind offshore trust," I suggested sweetly. "I can sign the papers. They will never trace it to a simple secretary." Marcus hesitated, looking deeply into my fake, loving blue eyes, but his immense greed and fear heavily clouded his judgment. "You're the only person I trust, Natalia," he whispered, falling completely and utterly for the deadly, toxic bait. The very next morning, Marcus instructed his corrupt lawyers to secretly wire $500 million. The untraceable offshore account was fully registered under a heavily encrypted shell company, and the sole, legal, absolute owner of that entire shell company was me. As my manicured finger clicked the confirm transfer button on my laptop, a triumphant, wicked smile spread across my face. I told Marcus to come to my luxury penthouse at exactly 8 p.m. to celebrate our brand new, incredibly wealthy future. I wore my most revealing, dangerously short red silk slip dress, pouring 2 glasses of extremely expensive vintage champagne. Exactly at 8, the heavy penthouse doors swung open. Marcus walked in, holding a massive bouquet of red roses. "We did it, my gorgeous girl. The money is completely safe. Marcus announced, stepping proudly into the living room. But his arrogant smile instantly froze, completely vanishing from his face in pure, unadulterated horror. The heavy bouquet of red roses slipped from his trembling hands, scattering violently across the polished wooden floor. Because I wasn't alone. I was sitting on the velvet sofa, passionately kissing Leo, the handsome intruder from the closet. Leo slowly pulled away from my lips, wiping my red lipstick from his mouth, and turned to look directly at Marcus. "Hello, Father. It's been a very long time," Leo said, his deep voice dripping with pure, toxic venom. Marcus was completely paralyzed, his jaw hitting the floor. "Leo? Natalia? What is going on?" he stuttered in sheer panic. Leo was Marcus's estranged, deeply hated son, whom he had brutally disowned and kicked out onto the streets 5 years ago. I slowly stood up, my massive curves swaying as I walked over to Leo and wrapped my arms securely around his strong waist. "Let me properly introduce myself," I smirked wickedly. "I am Natalia, and I have been married to your son for 2 years. Marcus physically stumbled backward, clutching his chest as the sickening reality hit him like an absolute freight train. 5 years ago, you ruined Leo's mother and stole his entire inheritance, I said, my voice turning incredibly cold and ruthless. So, we created the perfect plan. Leo knew your exact weakness: young, curvy, innocent-looking, blonde women. I played the perfect brainless secretary. I endured your disgusting touches. I heavily fed your massive, fragile ego. And you were so incredibly blind by lust that you happily handed me the legal keys to your entire fortune. You stole my money. I'll call the police. I'll have you both arrested, Marcus screamed hysterically, spitting with pure rage. Leo just laughed a dark, chilling sound. Call them, old man. Tell them you committed massive offshore fraud to hide assets from your wife. The money is legally in an offshore shell company, untraceable and totally ours, I added, sipping my champagne victoriously. You have absolutely nothing left, Marcus. Your wife took the houses, and we took all the cash. Marcus fell heavily to his knees on the expensive rug, crying pathetic, ugly tears, completely and utterly ruined. Natalia, please, I loved you. You can't leave me with nothing, he sobbed, desperately grabbing the edge of my red dress. I looked down at the ruined, pathetic billionaire with absolute 0% pity. I aggressively yanked my leg away from his desperate grasp, looking at him with pure, cold disgust. Get your filthy hands off my wife, Leo growled dangerously, stepping forward and roughly kicking Marcus's hands away. You have exactly 5 minutes to get out of our penthouse before my security throws you into the street, Leo ordered coldly. Marcus slowly dragged himself up, crying uncontrollably, and stumbled out the door like a broken, miserable dog. The heavy door slammed shut. Leo immediately lifted me up, kissing me deeply, celebrating our massive, flawless victory. We didn't just steal a fortune, we took back what rightfully belonged to Leo, destroying a toxic monster in the process. Today, Marcus is working a minimum wage job, living in a tiny, cramped apartment, completely isolated from society. Meanwhile, Leo and I used the $500 million to instantly buy out the board of directors. I am no longer the sweet, naive, submissive little blonde secretary fetching coffee in the early morning. I am now the official CEO of the entire tech empire, sitting proudly in the exact same massive leather chair Marcus used to own. I wear custom-tailored designer suits that still show off my massive curves, but now every single man bows to my absolute authority. Leo is my vicious, fiercely loyal chief operating officer, and we run the city with an iron, untouchable fist. Never, ever underestimate a gorgeous girl with a baby face. We are always 10 terrifying steps ahead of you. If you love a lethal, incredibly sexy revenge story, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. What would you have done if you were in Marcus's shoes? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Share this video with a friend who loves a deeply satisfying karma story. Click the video on the screen right now to watch another shocking billionaire betrayal. Thank you so much for watching, and always remember to watch your back. See you in the next scandalous secret.
manipulative husband hired his secret mistress to act as my live-in therapist, completely unaware that I am the billionaire founder of a global surveillance technology empire. For 2 agonizing months, Julian and Chloe played a sick, twisted psychological game with my mind. They secretly moved my personal belongings, deleted my important emails, and subtly drugged my morning coffee. Chloe would sit beside me, holding my hand with a fake, empathetic smile, convincing me that I was slowly losing my grip on reality. Julian's ultimate goal was to have me legally declared mentally incompetent so he could seize complete control of my tech company and my massive personal trust fund. They thought I was just a naive, fragile woman spiraling into madness. What those 2 pathetic traitors didn't realize was that my entire luxury penthouse was a highly advanced prototype testing ground for my company's invisible micro cameras. I had meticulously recorded every single time Julian crushed my pills, every secret kiss they shared in my hallway, and every forged medical document Chloe drafted. Tonight, Julian hosted an intimate dinner with a corrupt state judge, planning to force me to sign away my entire life and permanently commit me to a psychiatric facility. I didn't walk into that dining room trembling and confused. I pushed open the heavy glass doors wearing a flawless, pristine white designer suit, completely shedding my weak, paranoid disguise. And I wasn't alone. I was flanked by an elite team of federal cybercrime investigators. The polite dinner conversation abruptly stopped as the corrupt judge gasped in absolute shock at my perfect clarity and commanding presence. Julian stumbled backward, his arrogant, gaslighting smile vanishing instantly as he stared directly into my perfectly focused, dominant eyes. Chloe stuttered, desperately trying to maintain her fake medical persona as she realized the federal raid was entirely real. "I'm afraid my memory is absolutely perfect," I whispered softly. I handed the lead investigator a glowing digital drive, fully exposing their massive medical fraud, their sickening affair, and Julian's embezzlement. Julian's toxic smirk vanished instantly as the federal agents calmly detained him right in front of the judge. Chloe fell to her knees in her expensive silk dress, sobbing hysterically and begging the agents to let her go. I walked right up to the head of the table, looking down at the pathetic narcissists who tried to destroy my mind, radiating absolute, untouchable control. "Your psychological game is officially over," I announced, turning my back as they were escorted out the door to face severe federal justice. Today, they are locked away in a federal prison, while my mind and my empire remain completely untouchable. If you love seeing manipulative traitors fall directly into their own traps, hit that subscribe button right now and let me know in the comments below. Would you have let them play the game a little longer?
My cheating ex-boyfriend invited me to his billionaire wedding just to watch me cry in the back row. But his arrogant smile vanished when the church doors burst open and I walked down the aisle as his brand new stepmother. My name is Mia, and I'm about to show you exactly how a broke, heartbroken girl buys a billionaire's bloodline. To understand how I completely destroyed his life, we have to go back to the night he threw me out. For 3 agonizing years, I worked 3 miserable jobs to support Liam while he secretly built a fortune. I trusted him completely until the day his tech company finally went public and made millions. I came home to our tiny apartment, exhausted and wearing my cheapest clothes, only to find my bags thrown out. Liam was standing there in a pristine designer suit, tightly holding the waist of Chloe, a wealthy, stuck-up brunette. "You're too poor and pathetic for me now, Mia. I'm marrying someone in my own elite class," he smirked viciously. He tossed a crumpled $20 bill at my face and slammed the heavy door, leaving me completely homeless. I sat on the freezing, wet pavement, crying uncontrollably as the heavy rain washed away my entire future. But exactly 2 days later, destiny handed me the ultimate, perfectly lethal weapon for revenge. I was walking past a high-end luxury hotel when an older, sharply dressed man suddenly collapsed on the sidewalk. Wealthy pedestrians completely ignored him, but I rushed over, aggressively performing CPR until the paramedics arrived. I visited him in the VIP hospital wing the next morning, only to discover his name was Arthur. Arthur wasn't just any wealthy man. He was a $10 billion, incredibly ruthless real estate tycoon. And the sickening, twisted plot twist? He was Liam's estranged, extremely powerful father. Liam had completely lied about building his own company. He was secretly draining his father's massive trust fund. Arthur sat in his hospital bed, his sharp, intimidating eyes analyzing my innocent baby face and my curves. My son is a greedy, toxic parasite, and he thinks he's inheriting my empire with that awful girl, Arthur growled. He looked at me with a cold, calculating, billionaire smirk. I want to completely destroy his ego, and you are the perfect weapon. Marry me, Mia. I will give you half of my $10 billion empire, and you will become his worst nightmare. My eyes widened in pure shock. I looked down at my worn-out shoes, and then back at Arthur's terrifyingly calm face. A dark, wicked, incredibly toxic smile slowly spread across my glossy lips as I whispered, I accept. For the next 2 weeks, I was completely transformed. The poor, pathetic, crying girl was absolutely dead. Arthur's elite styling team dressed me in custom, dangerously tight designer gowns that screamed absolute power. We signed an ironclad marriage contract, officially transferring $5 billion directly into my personal bank account. The day of Liam's massive, highly publicized wedding finally arrived, and the tension was absolutely suffocating. The Grand Cathedral was packed with 500 of the city's wealthiest elites, with cameras flashing everywhere. I sat in a sleek, black Maybach outside the church, my heart pounding aggressively against my ribs. Inside, Liam was standing proudly at the altar in his expensive white tuxedo, holding Chloe's hands. The older priest cleared his throat. If anyone objects to this holy union, speak now or forever, hold your peace. Suddenly, the massive, heavy oak doors of the cathedral violently burst open with a deafening thud. The entire church gasped in unified shock. The organ music violently stopped, and absolute silence fell. I stood powerfully in the doorway, wearing a jaw-dropping, dangerously tight black wedding dress. Every single eye in the opulent room was glued to my incredibly sexy, commanding alpha female figure. Liam's jaw completely dropped. He turned pale, staring at me in sheer, unadulterated terror. Mia? What the hell are you doing here? Security, throw this trash out! Liam screamed hysterically. I just smirked wickedly, slowly linking my arm through the arm of the man standing right next to me in the shadows. Arthur stepped forward into the light, wearing a sharp, bespoke tuxedo, radiating absolute, untouchable power. Liam physically stumbled backward, clutching his chest in panic. Dad? What? Why is she with you? Arthur looked at his son with pure, freezing disgust. Watch your mouth when you speak to my wife, Liam. The entire cathedral erupted in explosive gasps and chaotic whispers as reporters aggressively raised their cameras. Wife? You married this pathetic gold digger? Chloe shrieked, her face turning ugly and red with intense rage. I elegantly strutted down the aisle, my expensive high heels clicking powerfully against the marble floor. I stopped right in front of them, looking down at my cheating ex with a cold, terrifyingly alpha female smirk. It's stepmother, actually. You should show some respect to your elders, I whispered, my voice dripping with toxic venom. Arthur stood powerfully beside me. I reviewed your company's finances, Liam. You've been stealing my money. Liam began to sweat profusely, giant drops rolling down his face as his entire arrogant world completely collapsed. So, as a wedding gift, I am officially cutting you out of the will. Every single penny is going to Mia. No, you can't do this. That money belongs to me, Liam sobbed hysterically, dropping heavily to his knees. Actually, I interrupted, slowly pulling a glowing legal document from my designer clutch. As the new majority shareholder of your tech company, I am officially firing you, Liam. You are completely bankrupt. Chloe looked at Liam in sheer horror. You're broke. I'm not marrying a pathetic broke loser. She violently ripped off her massive diamond engagement ring, threw it directly at Liam's face, and ran away screaming. Liam crawled pathetically on the marble floor, desperately grabbing the black lace hem of my wedding dress. Mia, please. I'm sorry. I still love you. Take me back, he begged, crying pathetic, ugly tears in front of everyone. I looked down at the ruined, miserable man who had thrown me out in the freezing rain just a month ago. I felt absolute 0% pity for him in my cold heart. I aggressively yanked my dress away from his filthy hands, looking at him with pure, cold-blooded disgust. Get your hands off my dress. You can't afford it, I ordered coldly, asserting my absolute dominance. Arthur snapped his fingers sharply. 6 heavily armed private security guards instantly stormed the altar. They roughly grabbed Liam by his ruined white tuxedo, dragging him violently down the long aisle. He kicked and screamed hysterically, entirely humiliated in front of the city's 500 wealthiest elites. The heavy cathedral doors slammed shut behind him, sealing my ultimate, flawless victory. Arthur looked at me and smiled warmly, kissing my hand with absolute, genuine respect. We didn't just stage a fake marriage. We actually became an incredible, unstoppable billionaire team. Today, Liam is working a minimum wage job, living in a tiny, cramped apartment, completely isolated and miserable. Meanwhile, I am sitting on the throne of a $10 billion empire, sipping vintage champagne. I wear custom-tailored designer suits that show off my massive curves, completely commanding every room I enter. I am no longer the poor, pathetic girl crying in the freezing rain. I am the ultimate alpha female, and I literally own the man who tried to destroy me. He thought he could throw me out into the storm, but I came back as the absolute hurricane. Never, ever underestimate a gorgeous girl with a baby face and a broken heart. If you love a lethal, incredibly satisfying karma story, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. What would you have done if you were in my shoes? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Share this video with a friend who needs a savage reminder to never let anyone treat them like trash. Click the video on the screen right now to watch another shocking story of ultimate revenge. Thank you so much for watching, and always remember to watch your back. See you in the next scandalous secret.
My deceitful husband moved his beautiful, long-lost sister into my luxury penthouse, completely unaware that I am the billionaire CEO of the world's leading cybersecurity firm. For 3 months, I played the role of a weak, increasingly ill wife, letting Julian believe his sinister plan was actually working. He claimed Elena was his orphaned sister who needed a place to stay, but my hidden thermal security cameras immediately exposed their highly inappropriate, secret romance. I watched silently as Julian started slipping unauthorized sedatives into my evening tea, trying to slowly break my mind so he could declare me legally incompetent and seize my entire fortune. They thought I was just a naive, trusting woman slowly losing her grip on reality. What those two pathetic traitors didn't realize was that I had already swapped his dangerous pills with basic daily vitamins weeks ago. Every single whisper, every forged document, and every secret kiss was meticulously recorded and securely transmitted to a federal investigative task force. Tonight, Julian and Elena were hosting a lavish private dinner party for his corrupt lawyers to officially sign away my corporate empire. I didn't stay locked in my bedroom pretending to be asleep. I pushed open the heavy mahogany dining room doors wearing a flawless, pristine white designer suit, completely shedding my weak disguise. And I wasn't alone. I was flanked by a massive team of elite federal financial investigators. The elegant dinner music abruptly stopped as the corrupt lawyers gasped in absolute shock at my perfect clarity and power. Julian stumbled backward, his arrogant smile vanishing instantly as he stared directly into my